When I got married in India, the wedding was an extravaganza. From the outfits, to the dancing, to the foods that we ate, it was wholly an Indian experience. And there were definitely foods that we had at our wedding in India that were particular to the event itself. And that made me think, what other foods are particular to weddings around the world? So today we're looking at 5 typical wedding dishes from 5 countries to explore what people are eating on everybody's big day.
My name is Andrea, and I live with my husband in Brooklyn, New York. The wedding dish that I want to share with you today is black cake. My mom's family hails from Grenada, as well as Trinidad and Tobago, and growing up, black cake at a wedding was the standard. You looked forward to that black cake. And when I got married, I looked forward to that black cake.
I feel like prunes get a bad rap for just being poop prunes, but I really like the taste of them. I just think they need better marketing. I don't know. How do y'all feel about prunes?
For someone who's never heard of black cake before, I want to say that it is a descendant of the British figgy pudding that was brought from England to the former British colonies in the Caribbean, but it tastes way better. It's basically a fruit cake with fruits which have been preserved in alcohol for weeks, months, sometimes years, depending on the family that's making it.
Now that I have my boozy fruit, I'm gonna let this sit for 7 days in a cool, dark place. So I'll see y'all in a week.
After you bake it, you soak it in more alcohol.
So it's been 8 days. I know that Andrea said that some people soak this for years, but we don't have years. So we're going with 8 days today.
It's supposed to be, I guess you could say like a pudding, but it's solid. It holds together in a solid form. I love it. And when we got married, I was really determined to have it be part of our wedding somehow.
I just don't know if this bowl is big enough, which I feel like is the story of my cooking lately, just not having big enough stuff. Because I have to add all this and then I have to add flour. I don't have a bigger bowl. Well, all we can do is hope for the best. Hoping and wishing and thinking and praying, just planning. Oh my God. That smells like sangria, kind of, but boozier. Ooh, this cake is gonna be strong. Wow, smell that.
Who's that?
Smell that. Does it kind of smell like sangria, or am I wrong?
No, you're totally right. But, oh my God.
Yeah.
My grandmother would always say, when you get married, you're gonna have black cake at your wedding.
I'm just gonna taste that. It doesn't taste as boozy as it smells, actually. It tastes like jam, like a fig preserve. If you've never heard of browning, this is something that's often used to enhance the color of baking dishes like cakes or spiced buns, but you can also use it in poultry. I used this when I made a liver episode from Jamaica a billion years ago on the channel.
And then when I was 20 years old, right after my sophomore year of college, I got the call that no one wants to hear that my grandmother passed away. And in the midst of my grief, one of the things that really came to mind was, well, she's not going to be at my wedding. And what I was so fortunate to have was the family members who really stepped in and said, we're going to help you with this tradition.
Ooh. It's supposed to be smooth, and that looks like it's pretty smooth. That took 70 minutes.
My aunt's cousin baked our cake, so then we brought it to the reception, and every guest had a piece of black cake to take home, and that's really one of my favorite memories. I think anyone can try this.
Oh, it came off. Oh, yes it did.
But if you are of Caribbean descent, especially the British Caribbean, and you want a tradition that really denotes family and heritage, make this cake. And you will see, as people start making preparations, all the family stories that come through.
We gave the cake one more day to rest because I was scared of opening it and having it like spill out, but it opened up perfectly. I'm very excited to taste this. My whole kitchen smells like port. Whoa. That is so creamy. It's like a pudding. It's alcoholic. It's fruity and strong. That port flavor is really coming through. It's a lot sweeter than a typical red wine and more fortified. But the texture of this is what's so interesting to me, that it truly tastes like pudding. And it's not dry at all. It kind of reminds me of the holidays with all of the spices and the fermented fruit. Those flavors and those smells just remind me of like family gatherings, which I guess checks out for the cake. I love the texture. I'll say, the first bite of this was a little shocking because of the alcohol in it, but now that I'm kind of in it, I'm in it. A little tipsy already? No, I'm just kidding. I'm definitely not tipsy. It's just been a couple bites of cake. We're fine. I would say though, this is definitely probably not a cake for a kid because I don't think they would like it. And I think the alcohol content would probably just be a bit too high. Not for kids under 21, huh? I loved everything that Andrea said about the cake and about her having it at her own wedding. I thought that was really special. One thing I've learned through this channel is that often traditions, they can be forgotten and it takes effort to bring them back. And I think this cake is a great example of that, of looking back into the past and making the effort to continue doing it today. Plus it's delicious. So there's a good reason this is a tradition. It's just like ooey gooey in a good way. In a really good way. Before we get to the next dish, I would like to thank Cove Pure, the sponsor of today's episode. Clean drinking water shouldn't be a luxury, and Cove Pure eliminates up to 99.9% of impurities in your water. One of the impurities in tap water is PFAs, or these forever chemicals. They're called forever chemicals because once they're in the ground or in your body, they stay there and never break down. They can cause irregular menstrual cycles and early menopause. Tap water typically contains minerals and other contaminants that can impact the texture and taste of your food. So for me, cooking with cleaner water means better tasting food, and that's important when I'm making all of my dishes. So 3 things that I love about the Cove Pure system is number 1, you can plug it in, so you don't need a plumber to come in and create new pipes, burst through your walls, or do anything like that. Number 2, the touchscreen makes it super easy to use. You can go from cold water, room temperature water, hot water. You don't need the kettle to sit on your countertop anymore. And third, the filter that Cove Pure uses filters out all of the bad stuff, balances your water's pH, making it slightly alkaline, so you're getting all the benefits of your sink water without any of the harm. So I live in New York City, and we're known for having pretty good drinking water, but I looked up my zip code on EWG's tap water database and found some chemicals in there that were actually pretty surprising. So if you're looking for clean drinking water with a filter that's easy to use, go to covepure.com/barrel and that will give you $200 off this system, or scan the QR code that's on screen.
Hi, Beryl.
Hi, my name is Lucero. I'm from Rio Bravo, Tamaulipas.
Hi, my name is Juan Carlos. I'm from Torreon, Coahuila. We're going to talk about asada boda, or wedding roast. This dish is very
Popular in the north of the Mexico. Its ingredients are pork, dried chilies, some spices, and very important, sour orange.
I like the flavor because it's spicy but not too spicy, and it has a very tender meat.
The amount of recipes that have called for chicken bouillon powder, and I have just had these tiny ones of them, I've finally upgraded to the big boy. Chicken bouillon powder is in a lot more dishes than you might think, and this might be a good investment if you do like cooking a lot. Drawer number 1. Drawer number 2. Drawer number 3. But wait, there's more. We've got up top, and we've got down below. I am the spice queen of New York. Da!
This is a very northern dish, but other regions in Mexico have made it on their own.
Ah, everything's splattering. It's getting everywhere. Dangerous. The paper got attacked.
It's considered a very Mexican dish. The majority of the ingredients that are very much Mexican, they remain the same.
So once again, Leia and I have dressed as twins. We're both in a university sweatshirt and green pants. Mine's not a real university. This is a book university, but still, it counts.
Keeps happening.
And so this is very impressive because this recipe is about 100 years ago. Even the Mexican government has a page dedicated for this dish. This dish is so important for the gastronomy of the north of Mexico.
We have our Mexican wedding roast, wedding stew. That was actually a huge mess to make. We used over 6 different elements between pots and pans and mixtures and blenders and pressure cookers. Me and my dishes. I'll be here for the next 30 minutes. It was not an easy cleanup, but hopefully it'll taste really good. Wow, the meat is really tender. I don't even need a knife. Ooh, that is creamy. Juan Carlos and Lucero both said that it was not too spicy, and even though it looks like it would be, it's honestly, they're right, it's not too spicy. Just has a good amount of flavor to it, that light amount of heat, but nothing that I think anybody with a low spice tolerance would be affected by. The pork is not dry at all. It is so tender. We bought the pork pre-cut up because sometimes it comes in just like one big piece, which we weren't really gonna be able to work with very easily. So buying it pre-cut from the butcher was definitely the way to go for us. Everything else was super simple. The guajillo peppers might be a little bit difficult to find, but if you have a grocery store that has a lot of dried spices, they might be there. Otherwise, obviously the internet can find you anything. I've never made red rice before, and it's good. When I heated it up in oil beforehand, first of all, it was very scary. Everything's splattering, it's getting everywhere. And it started to clump up, but now at the end of the day, it's not a clumpy rice. It's not a super loose grain rice, but that's only because I have no idea how to make a loose grain rice. I've tried a million times. If someone knows the ultimate trick, please leave it in the comments, because that's my goal in life, is to make loose grain rice. It's a lofty goal though. I think much like a wedding where you have 2 sides of a family coming together, here you have lots of different flavors coming together to make this beautiful dish that honestly was simple to put together. Even though it did cost me a lot of time in cleanup, I still think that the end result was totally beautiful and something that I would love to share with my family.
Hi Beryl, I'm Oğulcan. I live in Ankara, Turkey, but I'm originally from Osmaniye, a small town in southern Turkey. I choose Yüksük Çorbası because it's my favorite dish and essential part of weddings in southern Turkey. If I try to translate the name into English, it would be dumpling soup, but the word Yüksük actually means ring, referring to wedding rings, which makes this dish even more symbolic and meaningful. Yüksük soup is a yummy dish made with tiny meat-filled dumplings, chickpeas, and a spiced tomato meat broth. What makes this dish special? The mini dumplings and a touch of dried mint on top.
So Oğulcan said that I could use pre-made manti, which is definitely what I'm going to do. I did an entire dumplings episode that almost wrecked my mind, so making tons of these little tiny manti was not in the cards for me.
It tastes like ravioli soup with a Turkish twist. Yüksük soup is mostly popular in southern Turkey, especially along the Mediterranean coast. At traditional 3-day weddings, it's often served on day 2 at lunch. Before the wedding, women from the neighborhood gather to hand-make dumplings together. It's a shared, joyful tradition. It brings back memories of family, neighbors making dumplings together, and the warmth of wedding days. It's more than food, it's home. This dish served at weddings because the dumpling shape represents a wedding ring, symbolizing marriage. It's also handmade with care, showing the value and respect given to guests, a way of honoring them with effort and love.
This feels like the most wedding dish of all the wedding dishes that we've had so far because there's so much meaning to everything. And I have had manti before, but not in a broth. That is buttery and tomatoey and minty, and the beef manti are so good and savory with everything. Wow, this was unexpected. The tomato sauce base of this is so rich and creamy. That's what happens when you put a lot of butter into a sauce, but man, is it doing some great things in my mouth. It is so comforting. The chickpeas have a little bit of bite and add more creaminess to the already creamy broth. I just think this whole dish is like a big hug. I can totally understand why this would be something you serve at a wedding because it feels so special and it feels like something that could really be pivotal in a memory-making moment. I would remember this from my wedding for sure. And at my wedding, we had a lot of food. A lot. And this, if it had been there, would be one that I think everyone would have talked about and been like, oh, this one was so good. I could have made the manti, but I didn't have a death wish, so I decided to buy them frozen. Making manti is hard because they're so tiny. Making dumplings, period, is hard, let alone ones that are only about this big. Your fingers need to just be like tiny little mouse fingers in order to pinch them perfectly. I love this. If I'd known about this, I honestly would have added it to my wedding dinner menu because it is that fabulous and super easy to make. Just buy frozen manti and you are good to go.
Hi, I am Najihah and I am from Malaysia. The wedding dish that I want to share is Ayam Masak Merah, which translates to chicken cooked in red sauce. Like the name suggests, it is fried chicken simmered in a tomato and chili-based sauce. It is sweet and spicy and perfect to eat with rice, especially tomato rice or ghee rice.
My hands are gonna be stained. I mean, this is like the haldi ceremony from my Indian wedding all over again. Ooh.
When I go to weddings, I must put Ayam Masak Merah into my plate, especially if it is made more spicy than sweet. That's just my preference. I believe it is common all across Malaysia. It is such a staple for Malaysian Malay weddings that we have stalls solely selling wedding dishes, especially during post-COVID when weddings invitation were limited to a number of people. For me, Ayam Masak Merah reminds me of weddings. Not just the event, but what weddings mean.
The chicken looks so pretty. I've actually made something similar to this in my first fried chicken episode, but I think I did a better job this time. Although I think I'm a better cook at this time, so it makes sense.
It is a celebration of love, family, and coming together. The relatives and friends come to celebrate the matrimonial joy. To be honest, I am not sure about the origins of why Ayam Masak Merah and several other staple dishes are traditionally served at weddings. I guess it is a crowd-pleasing dish that pairs well with its counterparts and can be made in large quantities to feed many guests. I am not married yet, but I do see this dish being served at my future wedding since, well, it is a must. People should try Ayam Masak Merah because it is a flavorful dish that balances sweet, spicy and savory notes. With every bite, you can taste a bit of what it's like to be a guest at a Malaysian Malay wedding.
Najihah said that she liked her dish with a little more chili flavor, so I added a little more chili flavor to this. It smells really good, but it doesn't smell too spicy. I'm gonna cut it with a fork and knife. I'm not using a wooden spoon for the chicken, believe it or not. I think I have done that in the past though. Yum. Wow. You can really taste the lemongrass in this, and the heat is kind of in the back of your throat. It's not that spicy. I like the chicken powder that I added, so the chicken powder with the chicken gives it that really nice chickeny flavor. The skin is still a little crunchy, even though we cooked it in that liquid. I was worried that it was gonna get really soft, but I think we fried it for long enough that it maintained some of that crisp to it. It's not crunchy because there's not a batter on it, but it's definitely still a fried chicken. And I think the color was so beautiful before we covered it in the tomato sauce, that yellow color, gorgeous, just gorgeous. I'm getting down with some more chicken. I really like this. This is my lunch for today. I plated it like beautifully in this bowl, but it's difficult to access it from this bowl with the other pieces of chicken in it. I'm just gonna lift it and eat it like a chicken drumstick. I mean, it was easier. I'm really into it. I definitely understand how this is a crowd pleaser for a wedding. If you are a fan of chicken and a little bit of spice, I think you would be a fan of this. It's simple enough to make. If you don't have access to lemongrass, I don't think that that's a make or break for the recipe. I do think having some sort of chili paste though would be a make or break, because you do need that kind of spicy flavor in the background that I don't think typical hot sauce would give you, although maybe in a pinch it would. I'm not sure because I didn't make it like that. Finger, lick 'em, good, yum, yum, yum.
Hi, I'm Anisa. I'm from Central Java, Indonesia. I live in a small district near the city of Surakarta, or also known as Solo. Today, I'm very excited to share one of my favorite wedding dish, Sop Matahari, which literally means sunflower soup in English. Sop Matahari is as beautiful as blooming sunflower.
These smell like cheese, even though they're wood ear mushrooms, and this one really looks like an ear. Like, hello? I can hear you through my mushroom ear. Really stupid.
It's made of minced chicken, earwood mushrooms,
Yay!
carrots, green peas, corn, and sausage.
I like that we're using a hot dog in this. I'm a huge hot dog lover. How do you feel about hot dogs? I think I know I've asked this question many times because you all know how I feel, but I have also been doing some shorts on trying different hot dogs from around the world, and it's been really fun, and I'll leave a link to those in the description.
It's all wrapped in a thin egg wrap. The flavor is light, savory, umami, and comforting. Unlike most traditional Japanese dishes that are known for their sweetness, this one feels more modern. Sop Matahari isn't something you will find across all of Indonesia. It's specialty from Solo, and from what I've heard, Sop Matahari was served in royal events and noble weddings. Because of its detailed presentation and delicate preparations, it symbolizes the luxury and high social status. In Japanese culture, honoring your guests is a big deal.
I jumped the gun a little bit. The pan was definitely not hot enough, so we have to try again. And I just need to be a little more patient. Patience is a virtue.
By presenting this beautiful and thoughtfully made is a way for show this deep respect and the effort that goes into creating this dish reflect the value of Japanese culture. But what I love most about Sop Matahari is its meaning. The warm broth symbolizes the warmth and comfort, while the variety of fillings represents unity in diversity. Many different elements coming together in one harmonious dish. To me, that's exactly what family is about. We're all different, but we complete each other. If I ever get married, I'd love to have Sop Matahari on the menu. It is a little moments of surprise and beauty in a single bowl.
This wasn't necessarily that difficult to make, but well, that's not true. It was actually pretty difficult to make. Crap. Gah! Come on, just fill in that gap. Stuck. Can't get those up. It doesn't look as pretty as the pictures. It looks kind of like the photos that I saw, but not exactly like the photos I saw. It's not as finessed, but it was my first time. Oh. It kind of tastes like some sort of deconstructed chicken soup somehow, because everything is in the middle of the bowl and comes in as one total bite. The chicken broth obviously makes it taste like chicken soup, but the minced chicken with the corn and the carrots and this egg crepe, it's like the noodles are combined with the chicken. Because the egg really is coming out tasting like noodles to me. When we were making the eggs, Leia and I were realizing more and more that we were truly making crepes by adding the flour into the egg like we made a light batter. Oh, it's thick. Right, we made like a batter almost.
Yeah.
And that was surprising to me because when we were looking through the recipe, I was thinking like flour and eggs, what is this? Not that I haven't baked a ton of cakes on this show and definitely mixed flour and eggs before, but for some reason in this instance, I was confused. The corn is nice. I want to try this hot dog part. That's the part that I'm really after. Hot dog with minced chicken is funny. This hot dog combination is a little bit more interesting than the ones that I'm used to. This as a wedding dish is so impressive to me. The idea of making this for like 100 people is shocking, truly shocking, because making it for one was a lot. And I guess like, yeah, you've never made it before, but still it's a lot of labor to make this dish. You don't just plop it into a pot. You have to assemble everything by hand, making the crepes, making the minced chicken, folding it all, unfolding it all. There's a lot going on with this dish. But I think that's what would make this really something special to eat on your wedding day, a true labor of love and something that visually is really beautiful. I hope you learned a lot in today's episode. I know that I did. Until next week, I'm leaving you with 2 more episodes in our culinary universe. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check the description for all of the recipes that we did today. I will see you all next week.